Okay, you guys, welcome to MehariNation Sports Podcast. Here we are having a pre-fight show in anticipation for Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, number 2. Salute to the entire LDBC. Salute to the greater boxing community, and we want to welcome to the stage my special guest, Mr. Rene Box Young. Mr. Rene Box Young, how are you doing today, sir?
What is good, brother? I'm doing great, doing fantastic. Thankfully, I have the day off today from work. Coincidentally, you gave me the invitation yesterday or a couple days ago, and perfect timing, man. So, yeah, I went out and about a little bit today just to enjoy the day. Perfect time to come back live with you, Mahari Nation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invite, man. It's always an honor.
Yeah, not a problem whatsoever. So everybody in the chat here too, make sure to smash the like button and also go ahead and subscribe to Rene Box Young too. Always got the good insight on Mexican boxing that's all too. So tonight we got the rematch between Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. Certainly one of the most compelling matchups in the heavyweight division. Both these guys are physically fit. They're ready to go, ready to see some destruction in this house here tonight. So I watched the weigh-in before the live stream today, and both these guys are physically in condition. And Luis Ortiz came in at 236 and a half pounds, while Deontay Wilder went at 219 and a half pounds. So both these guys are basically fit and well conditioned, and thankfully Deontay Wilder's not sick. So as I turn the microphone to Rene Box Young, okay. So what do you expect? What do you see out of both these fighters that's going to make this a compelling matchup?
Interesting that you mention it about the weights, about their condition physically, on the weigh-ins. They are both in extreme, amazing condition. We saw, yeah, as you mentioned, I want to mention something real fast before we get into more, analysis. Something important I mentioned also a couple days ago when I gave my own, Wilder Ortiz breakdown. The other day, photos were going viral as far as video. I'm sorry. It's a video that went quite viral as far as the boxing community is concerned, with Luis Ortiz doing some neck workouts with a 45-pound dumbbell. He's taken this rematch very, very serious. Obviously, we know that Deontay Wilder is also. And as we see, Luis Ortiz, Wilder, he's always in great shape. That's a plus. That tells you something, that Deontay Wilder, it seems like he's always ready to fight, man. And that's a big plus for Wilder. Ortiz, he's trimming down a little bit more. We see that I think he's in the best shape ever he has ever been in his career in the heavyweight division. Yeah. So now that's a factor I would like to point out, that he's really, really doing some extreme workout training, Ortiz, for this rematch. So that's a big factor. Another factor is this, that I would like to go a little bit back as far as with Luis Ortiz, with his recent fights after the Deontay Wilder fight. We know that Deontay Wilder fought Luis Ortiz back in 2018, March, if I'm not mistaken, beginning of the year of 2018.
Yep.
And this is a great fashion to see, great way to close off the year, 2019. Right, November, end of the year, awesome, fun year of fighting. And when we go back to Luis Ortiz opponents, I got here BoxRec opened up right now, and I saw these fights. I don't know if you guys have, but maybe I'm sure you guys have. So let me just break this down real fast. Because I was studying it, on the buildup of this fight, and even before the buildup of this fight, after Ortiz lost, he fought Razvan Kojanu, okay? He KO'd him easily. Razvan Kojanu was a simple, opponent. Travis Kaufman also was another opponent, KO'd him also. Christian Hammer. The reason why I mention these opponents is because, when you consider those opponents, Travis Kaufman, Deontay Wilder, the best competition. Christian Hammer. Now, this is the thing. Okay, KO'd them. That's quite, expected by Luis Ortiz when he fights a competition like that. And then when he fought Christian Hammer this was in 2019 of this year, March, also in March. So Christian Hammer, he fought Christian Hammer. The interesting thing about this is that they both went the 10. If I'm not mistaken, that fight went the 10 rounds. It was a unanimous decision. It wasn't a KO. Now, the reason why I say this is because, it's quite important to at least pay attention to the last fight of these fighters. Every time we're going to see a fight, for example, we have Teofimo coming up against Comey, right? That's going to be great too. It's going to be fun to watch. If I'm not mistaken, Shakur Stevenson is that card also, is he?
I think so, yes.
I think he is, yeah. But the reason why I mention these guys is because Teofimo Lopez, he recently fought a tall guy, that one Oriental guy. Great match. It was a challenging fight for Teofimo Lopez. Those fights, and now he's going to fight Comey. And a lot of people are basing Teofimo's last competition, last fight performance in comparison to fighting Comey. I mean, we can't ride completely off of that because we know that styles make fights. But the thing is with Christian Hammer, Luis Ortiz, it didn't seem like he put the best performance on as far as, boxing style. What Luis Ortiz usually brings to the table. What do we see usually from Luis Ortiz? What is a signature of him? He constantly gives the jabs, right? Jab, power shot. He's a southpaw. So he constantly just jab, boom, power. Jab, boom, downstairs. Jab, boom. He does that constantly. He's flat-footed. He's quite flat-footed. He tried to do a type of Muhammad Ali type of, jumping around with his feet, but it's really rare to see that. He did that against Christian Hammer. As a matter of fact, watch this. If you go back and watch the Christian Hammer fight, I think I remember around the 4th, 5th round. I don't remember, but Christian Hammer actually hurt minimally. He did hurt Luis Ortiz. And that's when Luis Ortiz, when he felt the power of Christian Hammer's hits, because Christian Hammer, I mean, say what we may say about him, he's a tough guy. He had a tough chin, man. He was taking a lot of power punches from Luis Ortiz in the face and the body. And that guy was just, he was banging it out with him. So we got to respect that from Christian Hammer. But the reason why I say all this is because Christian Hammer actually did, hurt Luis Ortiz. And that is why when Luis Ortiz felt Christian Hammer's power, he started bleeding on the nose. Also, Luis Ortiz was bleeding at the nose and stuff. He started like jumping around, bouncing around very minimally like Muhammad Ali. But the reason why I say is because primarily speaking, Luis Ortiz, he's a flat-footed fighter. So flat-footed fighter, jab, power, jab, power. And the thing is when an opponent tries to get in on Luis Ortiz, when they try to walk in, boom, power. You see what I mean? He doesn't really give too many jabs. He just, bam, he surprises you. And that's exactly what he did to Deontay Wilder back in 2018. That's why Deontay Wilder got phased. But the thing here is that Deontay Wilder, he recovered amazingly after that power punch from Ortiz. Yeah, round 7, if I'm not mistaken. He did well. Yeah, and he did fight back, and he got his bearings together, and he just annihilated Ortiz. So the reason why I say all this is because those are the things we see with Ortiz. He's flat-footed, jab, power, power when an opponent goes on the inside, abrupt power, boom, uppercut, boom. And those are Luis Ortiz's weapons. That's his weaponry. Okay. And I think Luis Ortiz is riding on his surprise power shots. I think that's what he's riding on. Obviously he's a southpaw. That's an advantage also, but I think that's primarily what he's riding on, because he's not going to ride on, all of a sudden bringing in footwork in the game, cause you can't learn that, because he has done that most of his career. Now, the thing is, this is very important to point out too. We're just focusing on Luis Ortiz. When you go back to watch the Deontay Wilder, Wilder Ortiz won. Ortiz was a lot more twitchy. He was a lot more reflexive. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. His footwork was a little better also. But when you go to the Kojanu, Kaufman, and Hammer fights after Wilder, after the loss, after Ortiz lost, you saw that go down a little bit. It seems like he was more alert in the fight against Wilder than against Kojanu, Kaufman, and Hammer. And it seems like he really brought it down a few notches. I don't know if it has something to do with his personal life, because we gotta scope the backstory. How Luis Ortiz's daughter, God bless her, and it's sad. It's sad. And I think that to a certain extent has affected him. Thankfully, I think it was after the Razvan Kojanu fight, right after he won. And the reporter came in the ring right after the win, And then he started crying, man. He started crying up there and saying that, and it was really touching. I mean, God bless Ortiz, man. And it was touching because he started crying and he said that there's that they found a cure for his daughter's illness, man. So that's great. That's great. I mean, it's amazing. And I think he was like crying out of joy, So I mean, big ups to Ortiz. But the reason why I say this, as far as his performance, I think those things affected him. That personal life, his daughter going through that, and him trying to get fights out of the way, trying to make money and to provide for his family and things like that. So I think that that probably has affected his performance in the last 3 fights. But it's 3 fights, so I mean, I think his performance has gone down. He's not as alert as before, as when he fought Deontay Wilder. He's not as alert. He's not as crisp. Bop. Those crisp speed. I saw his speed go down too against Christian Hammer. You go back to Travis Kaufman also. Even though he beat him quickly. Actually, he beat him real fast. But he just didn't seem as fast with the combos. Right. So that I think in the buildup of all this, I think that as far as analyzing, I think that's what he's going to bring to the table as far as tonight. I don't think he's going to be as fast. Obviously, he's going to be alert and things like that Cuban style fighting, but. The thing here now, do you want to say something, bro, about Ortiz before I get to Wilder? You want to go ahead and?
I'm gonna say it like this though too. I think that when you look, I'm gonna go on Wilder. I'm gonna talk about the Wilder thing, the side there too. The one thing that I liked about with Wilder ever since he won the title from Stavern back in 2015, his style, keeps getting better, because before he didn't have a jab to basically set up the right hand, and now his jab is starting to get more crisp. It's starting to become much more cleaner. So now where you got to be aware of that jab though too, because with the jab he can easily set the jab up and go to the right hand. In fact, the great example of that is when you go back to the second fight against Bermane Cestern. What did he do? Jab, 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 set him up with the right hand, and he threw another jab, 1-2, bam. Night. And then when you go back into like guys like Arthur Spilka, and actually the other thing too about the one thing that I've noticed about with the Arthur Spilka fight was that Spilka did some interesting things that got Wilder off balance a little bit until he ultimately figured them out, tying them, getting the right hand, and basically it was night. But I think to me though, this fight though, I think Wilder understands how dangerous Ortiz is, but I think to me it's going to be a much more of a longer fight than people realize, because I think that what Ortiz is going to try to do is try to counterpunch against the right hand. But if when you look back into the first fight, Wilder was actually doing the counterpunch against the counterpuncher.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the thing here is that Ortiz, I was going to mention that too, and that's another a weapon, in his arsenal that Ortiz has is the. I think he's just going to try to sit back more and wait for Wilder to respond, for Ortiz to try to counter, with those power shots that we were talking about a moment ago, and that's another weapon that Ortiz has. Now when it comes to Wilder, I was going to get to him right now. Anything else you want to say, bro, before I get to him?
Hold on, I'm going to say everybody in the chat there, GG, Christopher Jornay, Jay Cooley, and the lovely Miss Boxing. How you doing, sister? How are you doing? She said salute to me and to Renee Box Young. Thanks for coming in, Miss Boxing. And also we got Christopher Jornay. We got E. Woodson in the house there too. So, and also GG as well. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for showing y'all some support. Make sure to keep smashing that like button. So, here's the thing. I think the big difference for me in this fight is that Ortiz is a bit more hittable than you would say with Fury, because Fury is much more awkward and throws in different awkward motions that kind of threw Wilder off up until towards the 12th round. Okay, I think in this time around, I think Luis Ortiz is going to have to try to use some footwork to try to avoid getting hit with the right hand, or probably trying to get on the inside and try to make a dogfight out of Wilder. But here's the thing. If Wilder decides to stay medium range, it's over. The fight's over. But if it gets to a phone booth fight, I don't think we have seen Wilder involved in probably in the inside digging through the trenches type of fight there. So I think I would look for, if Luis Ortiz decides to go on the inside, so we'll look for him to try to use some hooks and uppercuts on the inside to prevent Wilder from using that long reach. You know what I mean? Because I think that Ortiz is going to have to realize that, okay, I can't beat him on the outside. So you know what? I may have to go inside try to use some hooks and uppercuts to try to throw him off balance. Almost an equivalence of what Porter was doing with Earl Spence Jr., even though
I was going to mention that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to finish by stating that I predict that Wilder is going to have to make sure that it doesn't get to that level. But the dog in him always beats out strategy. And the other thing that I think that people also misvalue is Wilder's chin. He took some heavy shots against Luis Ortiz in that 7th round and still did not go down. And the comparison to Joshua, when he took a right hand from Andy Ruiz, he went crashing to the deck and even go back towards the Klitschko fight. So go ahead, man.
Exactly. You're totally right, man. And that's the thing here is that we see that if Ortiz does exactly as you said, and we saw that in round 7, or Ortiz in the first fight, right? Wilder Ortiz was maximizing and gaining advantage when he was on the inside, and that's precisely when Ortiz was going for he was going for the kill. When he saw Wilder phase, he just started going on the inside, boom, 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 and that's exactly. I totally agree. Where Ortiz, if he goes on the inside a little bit more, and we have never seen Wilder, fight in the pocket on the inside. And I was going to mention the same thing, man. Kind of like it resonates the fight with Spence versus Porter, man. Spence gave us an amazing performance, man, and a unique side of his talent and craft when he was fighting on the inside with Porter. It was just crazy. So if Wilder does that, I think he can be in danger. Now the thing here is that I want to mention this about Wilder now. After explaining Ortiz and what he's bringing to the table, Wilder, right? Wilder. I must mention this too. Now that you mentioned it, MehariNation, that you said that Ortiz again, and I'm sorry, Wilder. A lot of people aren't mentioning this. A lot of people really haven't been talking about it. Wilder really does have a chin, a strong chin, man, and a lot of people, I don't know why, I think I do know why. It's because more people emphasize Ortiz shook Wilder up. They're emphasizing a lot on Ortiz. Round 7, he almost knocked him out. But a lot of people aren't focusing on how Wilder recovered and took. Okay, real fast. Watch this, guys. This is like so you can understand it to a certain extent and from a personal side. All right, I mentioned this in my channel and other videos and stuff like that. And I want to bring it up here because it's really important that all you guys, in the chat, salute to the whole chat. Much love to all you guys. It's real important that you guys understand the ramifications of getting hits. Okay, I sparred here in Mexico. I've been sparring, and I got to go back to it. I plan on going. Actually, as a matter of fact, I talked to one of my trainers here in a gym, a boxing gym, and I told him I want to go back in December. I got to go back and train, man, because I've been getting kind of minimally out of shape, but I got to get back to it. But the reason why I say this is that I sparred down here in Mexico in a gym, all right, and trained. And when you get hit, at least I have gotten hit, quite a few times in sparring, even though we have our headgear and stuff like that. What happens is this, and now I understand the proverbial or the illustrative, cartoon characters when they get hit, they see stars dancing around. I totally understand that now because I never understood it until I got hit, because what happens is you see dots. I close my eye when I get hit, when I have gotten hit right in the head or in the face, by a jab or what have you. And mind you, I have fought, I have sparred against, I usually sparred, not always, but constantly at least sparred with the guys, a couple quite heavier than me, about, we can say 40 pounds. They would obviously take it easy on me because I would, hey, take it easy on me, man. I'm learning. And yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But their hits, you can feel the impact, man. And when they would jab, just by simple jabs to the head, sometimes I would close my eyes when I get hit. Boom. It's a natural reaction. You get hit, your eyes close sometime. And I would see many dots, like scattered all over my when I close my eyes, it's all dark. It's scattered all over my vision, realm. It would be, neon dots, neon colored, neon green dots, neon orange dots, all scattered around. And you would get back to your bearings and continue. But the reason why I say this, imagine, a heavyweight professional fight where you get hit like Wilder got hit in round 7 against Ortiz. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised he didn't go down. I'm surprised Wilder didn't go down. He really maintained his bearings. He went back in the fight, and he did amazingly after that. He did amazing after that. So that's the thing that many people are ignoring. And that's what you mentioned a moment ago, that, Wilder has a strong chin. And I don't see Wilder going down, man. I mean, I heard recently, the other day, or I don't know, this week, everyone's talking about it. I heard somebody saying that, Wilder's going to get knocked down or knocked out possibly by Ortiz. I really, really doubt it. I mean, okay, this is boxing. Anything can happen. We have to understand that, right?
Yep.
That's the beauty of boxing, the surprise element, the rabbit in the hat, right? Trick. In boxing, that's here. It's always present in boxing. That's why we call it the sweet science. That's why it's so unpredictable. That's why we love boxing. But that's such a slim chance that can happen, against Wilder, because Wilder is not dumb. And that's the next thing I'm going to get into right now. Wilder, he is so intelligent in the ring. I mean, look, a lot of people go off of, okay, windmill Wilder or whatever, they label him unorthodox. Okay.
Yeah, reckless, reckless danger. That's what they call him too.
And I call it a controlled there's a saying, I forgot, but maybe
controlled aggression, controlled recklessness.
Yeah, there you go. Controlled recklessness, and in order to control quote unquote recklessness, you have to be very intelligent. You got to be very smart, because now when you apply this in day-to-day life, right? You apply this to geniuses in history and in the past. If you go and study Beethoven, right? Beethoven, he is, people called him a genius. People called him a genius. Albert Einstein. If I'm not mistaken, Albert Einstein, he didn't really customarily comb his hair. That's why he has that crazy hair look. When you go back to Beethoven had problems. He had problems. They called him eccentric. He would, I studied this because I would teach it in academia. I'm here in I exercise that profession down here in Mexico, academia. And I would teach to the class, look, guys, Mozart, there would be a topic of that and music or something like that. And I would teach them, Mozart, he would stamp his feet and mutter to himself down the street. The people called him eccentric, but at the same time, he was considered a genius. He didn't know when he had new clothes or new clothes. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Mozart, Beethoven. Did I say Mozart? It's Beethoven. I'm sorry. I'm referring to Beethoven. So Beethoven, he would constantly wear the same clothes. They would get dirty. And he didn't notice when his friends would go into his house, right? When they would do visits or whatever, they would secretly put new clothes in his closet. And he would put those new clothes on and didn't even know that they were new clothes. He didn't pay attention to those things. He was really eccentric. The reason why I say this, but he was very, very, very intelligent, right? So the reason why I say Einstein, if I'm not mistaken, when he was in elementary school, the teachers said he was dumb, that he didn't know anything. But look, Einstein was one of the biggest geniuses and, scientists who brought revolution to the scientific field. Okay. Yep. We can say that Einstein and Beethoven, these guys, these geniuses, there are more obviously, that they were, they controlled the quote unquote recklessness with their intelligence. And that's exactly what Wilder is. Okay. Wilder, we'll get back to that. Now, when we get to his skills, apply it to Wilder. He's really, really intelligent in the ring. It takes intelligence to control, the angles that he uses, when he gives power punches, and to land in precision punches that he lands with those awkward angles. It takes athleticism. It takes athleticism because you're using muscles in your legs. First of all, you have to have a good leg position and a different, awkward, unique leg position in order to land those types of awkward angles with his power punches. Wilder does that. He is really, really intelligent. It takes intelligence and it takes athleticism to do that. A lot of people don't, you see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't describe this angle of Wilder's skills. You see, and I'm not a pro fighter or anything like that, but I have trained and I know what it takes to at least, land punches and it takes, leg strength. It takes a correct positioning of your feet in order to do awkward punches and execute awkward punches and things like that. So Wilder has that, his athleticism is off the chart. And look, okay, as an example, when you go back to that, when we go back to any of his fights, specifically comes to mind, remember when he knocked out Stavern for this in the rematch? Did you see how he went in for the third knockout? If I'm not mistaken, the third one, he ran and he just did some kind of crazy like he was playing basketball, going up in a layup. I was like, what the heck? He went to the right a sharp right. He went towards Stiverne and he did some kind of sharp right movement, and then boom, a right swing power punch, awkward angle power punch, boom, Stiverne, right to his head, knockout. You see what I'm saying? That takes athleticism. That takes intelligent. Wilder is an out-the-box fighter. Why do you think, why do we think that Wilder attracts so many people? Obviously, one of them is his personality. Like you said a moment ago, he has dog. He has heart, man. And what he brings to the ring, that's what attracts millions of people. And that's why, he is the number one heavyweight. Yeah, it's debatable, a lot of people, but he is the one who attracts the most people. Tyson ain't attracting anyone. Tyson isn't attracting anyone. His last couple fights were flops. Even though he tries to act like a clown, even though he tries to dress up like a Mexican, what the heck are you doing, Tyson? I mean, yeah, you're a weirdo, but that's not attracting anybody. What you bring to the ring attracts people, and Wilder brings that. And that's what the reason why I say all this, okay, is because his intelligence. Wilder is so intelligent. Okay, Wilder fought against. Okay, let's resonate with Stiverne because it's the same thing. Wilder fought Ortiz once. He's rematching him again. Okay, now Wilder fought Stiverne once. Now, and he rematched him before. And Stiverne and Wilder, if I'm not mistaken, they went to 12 rounds, right? Wilder won.
Yeah, Wilder with Stiverne went to 12 rounds. But if you go back, I think it was probably the second or third round. Wilder actually legitimately, knocked out Stiverne, but basically tackled him.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I remember that. And the thing here is that this is what I'm getting to. Wilder, he annihilated Stiverne because Wilder is so intelligent, you guys. It was like the first fight, he figured him out. He figured out Stiverne. He figured out Stiverne's style. He figured out how to get to him. He trained to rematch him after they fought a couple fights, whatever, and then he went back and they rematched. Wilder trained and studied specifically because he already fought him. He had the experience against Stiverne. The next fight, man, the rematch was just a total annihilation. I would say we're going to see maybe the likes of that. Not the same, though. Not to the same magnitude. But I see that happening in this rematch with Wilder against Ortiz. Wilder already fought Ortiz. He knows his style. He knows he's quite flat-footed. He knows that, Ortiz is not the best footwork. Now, this is another thing. Here's another thing. Wilder, he uses his upper body. He moves around his head a lot, his upper body. I mean, wow. I mean, you guys got to go back and study that. It's amazing. That's why I like Wilder so much as the heavyweight. He's my favorite heavyweight, as a matter of fact, because he's just so unique in what he brings. And as a heavyweight, man, you don't see heavyweights fighting like Wilder does, And so I think he's going to bring that also, that upper body, slipping jabs, slipping, like a chest. That's what I'm saying. He's intelligent, you guys. He's studying. He's looking at his partner's eyes, moving his head around, his upper body. And he's going to bring all that in this next fight. And I think personally, I think he's just going to take out Ortiz in an impressive fashion. It might go the distance, but I don't see it going the distance. It might happen though. Like I said, we don't know, boxing, it has that surprise element. So I just look, another example. Go back to the Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight. It took Wilder around 11 rounds, 10 rounds to figure out Tyson Fury. By the time he figured out Tyson Fury, boom, here comes the knockdowns. Same thing, but it just took longer. It just took longer because obviously Tyson Fury, say what we may say about him too, right? I admit, I think Tyson Fury is a big weirdo. I think he's very odd. Okay. But hey, he has skills. I cannot deny that. Fury has skills. He has awkward skills also. And, amazing defensive skills. Wow. My big ups to Tyson Fury. I gotta respect that. But the thing is that it took Wilder a little bit longer to figure out Tyson Fury. But by the time he figured him out, boom, it's night. And it was almost night in the 12th round, right? But the referee, I think he did give a little bit extra time. Technically, I think the 10 seconds were up and it was over.
Can I say this real quick?
Go ahead.
Now, the referee, Jack Reese, messed up the count. Who in your right mind says, counting 10 does not equivalent to 10 seconds? Like, what? Like
Right.
that literally makes no sense. Listen, if you did the fight over again with any other referee, the referee would have stopped the fight on the spot. There was no way Tyson Fury was getting up. Even I was like, what? Like you're supposed to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then onwards to 10. But the fact that Jack Reese messed up the count, it was a little too shady in my eyes.
Yeah, it was slow. It was too slow. I mean, so he gave him a chance, and the thing is that I think technically, Wilder won that fight, because it was a knockout. It was just a knockout. But what it is, right? But the reason why I say this, it took around 10 rounds for Wilder to figure him out, Tyson Fury out. Had there been one more round, it would have been a knock. I mean, Wilder would have had his arms raising. It would have been a TKO or something like that. But
that's right.
The reason why I say this is that it took around that time. Now, go back to Wilder Ortiz 1. It took around 8 rounds. When did he knock out Ortiz? The 8th round?
I think it's in round 10.
Round there. So it took around that amount of rounds for Wilder to figure out Ortiz. So that's why I say Wilder has Ortiz's blueprint down. I mean, I don't look at Ortiz. This is the thing. Ortiz, considering his experience in boxing, I think he's it's hard to say, but I don't think Ortiz is going to bring many new elements into the fight game,
Agreed.
As far as his skills and strategy, because he's used to his own, at that age and at the experience he's at. I don't think he's going to change much. You know what I'm saying? He probably will try the first couple rounds, and he's going to see, this isn't working. In his corner, this isn't working. We got to change the game plan and do what you usually do. I don't know. Something's going to happen. I think Wilder is just going to, he's going to get to Ortiz so much, in the first few rounds that, the game plan that Ortiz and his corner had is going to go out the window. And that's where I think Wilder is going to maximize using that athleticism, using that footwork. Let me mention real fast. First fight, okay, go back to, again, Wilder versus Ortiz. Coming with athleticism. I think athleticism is gonna play a big role in this rematch, because you go back and remember they were fighting. I think it was in the second round or something like that in the first fight, Wilder Ortiz. Remember, and I don't think he was playing. Wilder is not the type of guy to play in the ring. He doesn't play. He doesn't showboat, even though it seemed like he did showboat against Chris Arreola. Remember that? When they were kind of clinched, and Chris was hitting Wilder to the side of the body around the liver area. He was just punching, boom, boom. And then Wilder was kind of like moving his waist around, like dancing with Chris Arreola. You don't really see that from Wilder. The reason why I say that is that because maybe people took Wilder as showboating in the ring, but I don't think so, because the reason why I say all this is this. Look, guys, when you go to the Ortiz and the Wilder Ortiz first fight, I think it was around the second fight. Second round. Ortiz hit Wilder with a power punch. Wilder felt it. Yeah, actually, I think he got out of the way. Ortiz threw a power punch or a jab or something around the second round, and he got out of the way. He used his footwork. That's what I'm getting at. He's used his athleticism, his amazing footwork that Wilder has as a heavyweight, got out of the way so fast. And then he did like a samurai with his arms. Did you guys see that, or do you recall that?
I think I may have, but I don't remember.
He did like a samurai karate thing, gesture with his arms, and boom, and the crowd reacted like, whoa, the reason, and Wilder wasn't smiling when he did that. That's what I'm saying. Wilder brings a whole new element of strategy and combat, in this combat sport that we call boxing. He just, and he wasn't playing. He did some kind of samurai thing, and he's like, all right, it's on now. Because what happened was, Ortiz, I think it was a power punch that he threw. Ortiz threw a power punch, and boom, he got out the way so fast. Wilder did with his footwork. Amazing. He got out the way. Poof. And he did that samurai thing. That's what I'm saying, like athleticism. And I think that was a statement that Wilder was making against Ortiz. Like, look, you're fighting a whole new different kind of fighter. You're fighting a different breed of fighter here. I'm not just a typical boxer. I'm bringing athleticism. I'm bringing a different craft into the ring. And I think that's what the statement that Wilder was showing to Ortiz. Like, hey, you don't know who you're dealing with. And I think that's what he's going to do in the rematch. I think he's just going to use amazing footwork. He's going to be more twitchy, Wilder. He's going to be a lot more alert. Even though he's already alert, he's amazingly sharp as it is, and I think he's just going to blow Ortiz out 40 years. Trick Nolte, he's 40 years.
Yeah,
Ortiz is for you.
I was gonna say, Trick Nolte says so. We know that Ortiz's age, a 40-year-old heavyweight, Wilder stops him in the 6th round. I've heard some people talking about, he might get him in 6 or something like that. I've even heard that somebody said that he might get him in the 4th round. I disagree with that. I think that it might go a little bit longer because I think that by the time that Ortiz is a new strategy, goes out the window, I think he's going to revert back to his old tactics. But I think it might take him. I think it might go 8 to 10 rounds, in my opinion, at least in my opinion. But I think to me though, I think that Wilder is going to recognize, you know what, he's going to go back to the same old tactics again,
Yep.
and it's going to be the same old result. But if he gets in there with a 1st-round knockout like a la Stavern and Brazil, that's a statement.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? As a matter of fact, okay. If Wilder, which I think he is, okay, but as you said, I mean that's a big key or a factor at least that can happen. Definitely, I mean they can go the distance. Whether they go the distance or not, I think that Wilder is just going to give an impressive win. I don't know how. The how is I've been explaining it already, but as far as when, I don't know, but I just think it's going to be a devastating annihilation. I just think it's going to be like that. And now, if he does, like you said, if Wilder really takes him out like in the early rounds, okay, Anthony Joshua is going to be running for his life. He has been running for his life as it is already. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, forget that in February, guys. If I don't, Tyson Fury, he's acting like I kind of see. I'm not some kind of prophet guy, whatever. I don't see through people, but I don't know, man. The I could say body language, I guess.
Yeah, body language. Yeah, body language, the actions and decisions.
Actions of Tyson Fury show he doesn't really want to fight Wilder again, man. He doesn't really want to fight him again.
And also to add another element, though, too, even his family, besides his father, does not want him to get back into the ring with Wilder. All right, after what they saw in the 12th round. So there's a reason why he's done the WWE stunts in the first place. And the fact is that even against those fights against those bums, because I'm calling them bums because ain't nobody know them. Yeah. He's not even looked that impressive. So listen, I hate to say this to you all Tyson Fury fans, but what is the point of having the rematch now when we know what's about to happen? Wilder knows what Fury's gonna do. It's only a matter of time before Wilder connects on the right hand, and it's night-night.
Definitely. And the thing is that the reason why I say is through Tyson Fury's actions is exactly he was to the point of signing the rematch right after the fight, right? Shortly after the fight, he was at the point of signing the rematch. He was right there. And then what happens? Top rank, $60 million deal. Oh, I'm going to run over there. It's more convenient for me. I'm not going to fight Wilder soon. So yeah, let's do that. Let's fight these guys, right? Wallen, Schwartz. I don't even know who the heck was it. Wallen who gave him the big gash in his eye? I don't even know because, like you said,
that was Otto Wallen in that fight, though. I mean, the cut was so ugly that even Fury decided to take out the stitches the week after the fight.
My gosh, and Wallen, thank you so much, Golden Gloves. Thank you so. I don't know if Golden Gloves in here. Because he just subscribed to my channel. I don't know, but thank you if you're in there.
Okay.
But yeah. The thing is that Tyson Fury, the performance that he gave against Wallen, he saw that he couldn't do good against Wallen. So what did Tyson Fury do? He started just going using his body to push him up against the ropes, and he just started fighting dirty. Tyson Fury had no other way. So that's why he doesn't want to fight Wilder, man. He doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Like like you said, if he takes out Ortiz early in the fight, no heavyweight's going to want that smoke. As it is, no heavyweight wants that smoke anyway. No heavyweight wants that smoke with Wilder, man. I mean, we can see it. We see through Anthony Joshua. We've seen it through for years how Anthony Joshua keeps ducking him. If Wilder takes out Ortiz in the early rounds, dude, Anthony Joshua is going to be shaking in his boots. And what's going to happen is if Anthony Joshua beats Ruiz, which he probably won't, win or lose, he's going to go. He's probably going to retire, or he's going to go beating around the bush and fight Dillian White or something. I mean, someone that we don't want to see him fight. So Yeah, so I mean, I think that either way, to kind of conclude that, as far as what my analysis, either way, I think that Wilder is going to, whether it go the distance or not, I think that Wilder is going to give an impressive fashion and win. And I think his athleticism is going to have a lot to do with it. I think he's just going to be using his leg work a lot more, his footwork a lot more in the ring, and it's just going to blow Ortiz out of his game.
All right, so. Now let me get into the chat real quick though. It's just boxing salute. Wonderful life of Bob J also made a funny comment. He said, let me find it here. He said that let me find it real quick. There it is. He said the thing with Wilder is that he has watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z coming up. That's funny. I love that. Okay, so here's a little subjects that I'm going to talk about here. And then basically we're going to get to the prediction side of things. So the thing that I see after the fight, once Wilder beats Luis Ortiz, there's no question that Wilder and Andy Ruiz is a money fight. The possibility of Joshua is never going to happen. So would you be okay with, Renee, if the sanctioning bodies of both the IBF and WBO would be okay with just stripping of the belts and just basically going with Wilder and Ruiz for both the WBA and WBC belts? Because remember, the WBC has no issues of going for undisputed. It's the other sanctioning bodies that basically don't want to give that kind of power. So what do you kind of predict after the fight?
After the fight, man, that's tough. That's tough because a lot is riding on Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. What's going to happen? So I think after the fight, the thing here, I think, and Wilder, he does want the smoke of the winner, between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Wilder is the real deal. He wants to be undisputed. He wants the winner of, Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua rematch if Andy Ruiz wins. Okay. Wilder's going to be calling out Ruiz all day, you know what I mean? And as far as the stripping, I don't really know too much about the politics in that sense. I heard something about they want to strip Andy Ruiz or something if he doesn't take some kind of mandatory after the fight, after the Anthony Joshua.
Let me give you some clear and defined information about that. So the WBO mandatory is basically Olasena Usyk, who's also in association with Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn. Now the IBF mandatory is what's his name? Keith Bradpool of association with Top Rank. So there's an association going on here that both these promoters are trying to, trying to prevent undisputed in the Al Heyman stable. Because
I got it. Yeah.
If Al Heyman has one fighter who's the undisputed heavyweight championship, game over for all the promoters.
Now, that's a really good question because when it comes to politics,
I got to take a phone call. I got to take a phone call real quick, but keep going.
Yeah, go ahead. I got it. Yeah. Okay. The thing here is about politics and boxing. You know how it gets. It's really iffy. It can be one thing one day, another thing the other day. It's just boxing. Salute. What up, brother? So as far as Ruiz winning, okay, if Ruiz wins, Andy Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua, which I really hope he does. WBO mandatory will be Usyk. If not, if he doesn't take it, it looks like they will probably strip Andy Ruiz of the WBO title, or likewise with IBF, right? If Andy Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua, the IBF mandatory will be Pulev, right? If he doesn't fight Pulev, it'll get stripped. So Andy Ruiz, it's a big possibility, right? I don't know, because Andy Ruiz has heart. Andy Ruiz wants to fight the best. After he beat Anthony Joshua, his confidence went up the roof. Also, he already had confidence as it was when he fought Anthony Joshua. On the buildup of Anthony Joshua, he had all the confidence in the world. You know what I mean? So I personally think if Andy Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua, I think Andy Ruiz will want to fight Wilder. I think he will want to fight Wilder. And I personally think Wilder will take out Andy Ruiz, though. You know what I'm saying? Because Wilder, like I said, he's just too intelligent, man. Wilder is really, really intelligent, really, really athletic. And he brings so much to the table as far as skills and craft, the things I just mentioned a moment ago. So I don't think Andy Ruiz is the type to back down from a challenge. You know what I mean? As far as, and this whole WBO mandatory Usyk, Usyk, I mean, I don't even know why Usyk, I'm perplexed with Usyk in the heavyweight division, man. I'm kind of perplexed. I'm perplexed, but I mean, hey, he has skills, yeah, but I think they're kind of hyping him up a little bit too much, maybe, But yeah, I kind of think Ruiz is going to want to take the Wilder fight, and I think Wilder will just win. And as you said, maybe they'll probably strip Andy Ruiz from the IBO or IBF because I don't know who would really want to see Andy Ruiz versus Usyk. Would you guys?
I don't either. And listen, how many times has Kubrat Pulev has had opportunities to go for championship belts, and for some reason, some weird circumstances got in the way of that. And plus, he's still under hot water for that incident with the reporter though too, after one of his fights. So it's like, do we really are these sanctioning bodies going to be really that stupid to try to fall for that tactic? Because if they are, that means that the WBC is going to say, okay, we're going to create. And this is another point there too. There's been kind of rumors that the WBC, the PBC is trying to create their own championship belt because they're even tired of the same politics that's going on with all the sanctioned bodies. So if the PBC pushes forward towards the possibility of creating their own championship and distancing themselves from the sanctioned bodies, I'm telling you, everybody, and everybody in the chat, this is a major power play that's going to have the sanctioning body shook up majorly, because then they're going to have to decide, are they going to continue to decide with the shady promoters, or they're actually going to start listening to the fans and listening to the actual right decisions.
So true. Now, that's why we got to give a shout out to LDBC. We have to. I mean, I was going to actually start, I wanted, when you were presenting to me, I wanted one of the first things I want to do is shout out to the LDBC, because Fannin International, salute to the Don Port, man. When I just started my channel, he showed me support, man. I just gotta give love. I gotta show that love to LDBC. And that's the reason why I say this, is because LDBC, new media, other channels, they're bringing all this out to light. Okay. The boxing community is not ignorant. You know what I mean? They're not ignorant to these tactics. Just look at Eddie Hearn. Just look at Eddie Hearn, you guys. I recently heard that supposedly, I saw on Twitter that Dillian White is now cleared to fight. And then Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that whole Nevada thing, kicked out of Nevada, and now they're going to fight in Arizona, against Daniel Jacobs. And then Eddie Hearn, is controlling this whole thing with Junior. It just, Eddie Hearn has a bad, Big Baby Miller was cheating, he was under Eddie Hearn too, and it's just, these corrupt promoters, man, all this stuff is coming out to light. And thankfully for technology and social media, new media, groups like LDBC, man, they're bringing it out to light. We're not ignorant anymore. And that's the thing. Al Heyman, if he does this move, okay, it's getting to the extent of this. Before we get to Al Heyman, it's getting to the extent of Dana White is already talking about. He was talking about. I made a video about a month ago when I was on a trip. I was on a business trip here in Mexico, and I made a little video on my phone and on my trip on the Airbus. And I saw on the news that Dana White is considering going into the boxing industry, because he even admitted, he said there's so much fishiness in boxing now. There are so many titles. As a matter of fact, Luda Bella, I think I mentioned this in the other live with you, MehariNation, that Luda Bella, Bob Arum, even Eddie Hearn, who is corrupt as, just look at his eyes, man. He's just I don't know, man. Eddie Hearn is just, I don't know. I just don't trust that dude. But they were even joking about, Luda Bella was the one who started, actually. He was joking about how many titles are out there. He was saying things like, okay, we got the franchise championship, we got the silver belt champion, we got the diamond belt champion. What's next? The pearl belt champion. I mean, they were joking about it, laughing about it. Even some promoters are just laughing about this whole, a lot of people are not really, real boxing fans see through this whole title thing, these belts, because we know that, like you said, the sanctioning bodies, WBO, IBF, they manipulate it, They manipulate mandatories, that nobody wants to see, And that's where Al Heyman might make that move. If he makes that move, it's going to really change the game. Also, Dana White wants to get his fingers into the business, because that's the same. I reiterate this with Dana White, because Dana White, he wants to see And this is awesome. I got to give him that credit. He wants to see the best fight the best. You don't
Yep.
really see that. You don't really see this in the UFC. You only have one belt. It's the UFC championship belts. You know what I mean? And UFC, they have to fight the best. They have to. You know what I'm saying? And if this happens, if Al Heyman does this chess move as he always does, and in the business of boxing, if he does this, it's going to change the game up a lot, because we might be. I mean, it's one of two things, man. It's one of two things. We saw, we're seeing, DAZN, Eddie Hearn pushing this whole celebrity YouTube fight, which was, first pro debut. Y'all know who it was, KSI, Logan, whatever. And bringing in celebrities like that to fight, just to pull in casuals, pull in, marketing, whatever. It's either going to be this. It's either going to be boxing is going to get inclined to that more, or boxing is going to have a revolutionary change where it's going to go back to how it was before, the best fighting the best. It's one of the two. It's like there's a tug. It's like there's a tug of war between these two, future possibilities in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agreed. So
just real quick, as far as, I'm sorry, man, just real fast. So, I mean, it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say, getting back to that, question that you pointed out a moment ago, which brought us out talking about this, was what will Andy Ruiz do after fighting Anthony Joshua? I personally think that he's going to go for the gusto, and he's going to want to fight Wilder, because I don't think Andy Ruiz is the type to duck. I think he and it's awesome. He left Top Rank. I made that video months ago when I made a quick video on that, talking about Andy Ruiz leaving Top Rank. First fight, if I'm not mistaken, or the second fight in PBC, he fights Anthony Joshua. Great opportunity, but I just think that Andy Ruiz, he has that heart. He wants to fight the best out there. He wants to be the best, and I think I just incline. Just to answer that quick question, I just incline that Andy Ruiz is going to go for Wilder, man. He's going to want to do it, even though they might strip him, whatever. But, boxing fans aren't really ignorant anymore, and I don't think they really look too much to the IBF or WBO mandatory thing. So I kind of think that Ruiz is going to go for the gusto and go for Wilder, man, if he beats Anthony Joshua.
Definitely agrees. But now I want to personally introduce you, who just came on to the channel, the boxing historian from New York City. Actually, not from New York technically, though. But anyway, the boxing historian himself, Curtis Anderson.
Curtis,
how you doing, brother?
Hey, Renee Box Young, Abel Mahari, what's going on with you guys,
up,
man?
Brother? What's up?
Man, just having a great time, though, bro. Discussing the fight, discussing all the implications, though, man. I need to step out for a few minutes, though, but go ahead, Curtis Anderson. What are your predictions about the fight? I'll be back in 5 minutes, Renee, okay?
Cool.
Yeah, my prediction is Wilder by 7th round TKO. It's not only the power of Wilder, it's the athleticism and the agility, man. He's not easy to fight because he's like really athletic, man. He's not technical, but when you're a heavyweight, you don't have to be. Look at the heavyweights in the past, like Jack Dempsey and Joe Louis and George Foreman and Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson. They were power punchers, they were sluggers, Mike could box a little bit. Joe Louis was robotic, but he could box, but they all had, very good power. And same with Deontay, even though he wasn't the champion, Ernie Shavers, he was very popular heavyweight. He just came along at the right time. But Wilder is different because he can move. He's fast, has an underrated jab. So I like Wilder in 7. Now, Ortiz can make it interesting if he fights the right way. Boxing is about strategy, man. Boxing is about, it's mental, 70% mental. If I was Ortiz and his trainer, I will lay on Wilder's right hand. I will move to my left to take away and neutralize the right hand of Wilder. And I would smother Wilder, and I will go to his body, try to sap some of the power by going to his body. Body punching is a lost art. A lot of fighters don't do it, but I will lay on Wilder's right hand. I will move to my left, and I will smother him and go to the body, make it an ugly fight like he did in round 7 when he hurt Wilder. I will do that. But, so Ortiz is going to have to sell out, but he's not that kind of fighter. He's a mid-range to long-range fighter, but that's the game plan because he doesn't want to get hit with tail-end punches, man. And if you can break your opponent down, I don't know if they see what I see, but that's the best way to beat a Deontay Wilder.
All right, you guys, I'm back in the building here. So Curtis, though, I missed out about what you said, but what do you think? What do you think Ortiz needs to try to do to at least try to give himself a chance to try to pull off a big upset?
Move to his left. That neutralizes Wilder's right hand because if he moves to his right or he stands still, he's right, in the kill zone, I call it. He's right in range of that powerful right hand. So he has to move to his left. That's the outside shoulder. And he has to smother Wilder and go to Wilder's body. But, because guys like long guys that have the physique of Wilder, like Hearns and Bob Foster and people like that, you're going to have to smother them because normally they can't fight in the inside when you smother them. They need extension, to fight at mid or long range. So that's what I would do. And I would throw the right hand overtime. And when I'm in the inside, if I was Ortiz, I would follow up with a short right hook, and his left hand too. It's all strategy when you're a big underdog. You have to study your opponent. So we'll see how good the Ortiz team is, his trainer, to set a game plan, execute the game plan, and follow through with the game plan. You might see an upset. That's a lot to ask, but it could be done. I've seen fighters go in there and implement a game plan, and it worked to a T. So we'll see what Ortiz does.
Okay, absolutely. And also for everybody, check out Curtis Anderson on OG Boxing Talk on Fanon International Boxing Channel at 8 p.m. Central Time. I think it's around 9. It's about 10
9 Eastern.
9 Eastern Time on the East Coast, though, too. OG Boxing Talk with Curtis Anderson, Fanon International Boxing Channel, KQKC Boxing, and Blood Boxing, too. So y'all make sure to go check them guys out. So Samuel Price, my Eritrean brother from the UK, says, Wilder by KO. I'm not sure at all. I feel like it might go the decision, but I also feel that Wilder can get Ortiz out of there. Okay, for sure, for sure. Earl Taylor Sr. says, Curtis Sugar, salute family. So, yeah, I think to me, though, in my opinion, at least, though, Mr. Anderson, that Wilder's going to have to prevent, going into a phone booth type of fight, though, because even though Wilder has a really good chin, I don't think it would be in the best interest to try to go inside against Ortiz because I think he's going to try to outmuscle Deontay Wilder. But people tend to forget that Wilder is a lot more stronger than people realize.
Absolutely, man. Usually guys like that are, they have, they underestimate them because of the way they look, long and lanky. Wilder, looks like what I call a super cruiserweight. He came in at 219. That's a good weight for him. Mm-hmm. He's in great shape all the time. It's easy for Wilder to win because he's so dangerous, man. Mm-hmm. It's hard to fight guys like that. Keep Ortiz at the tail end of your punches. Ortiz will try to take away the jab, but he has the right hand. And see, that's in the back of Ortiz's mind. When you knock a guy out, it's always in the back of his mind. I don't care how hard you train, it becomes psychological. So he knows what that right hand can do. So he might be conservative. He looks in great shape, but that don't mean nothing. We got to see where his mind is at because I always like the fighter who knocked out the other fighter. He holds a psychological edge, over that fighter. So, Wilder's full of confidence, man. That's another thing. Those are intangibles that he has on his side. Ortiz may have his moments, man. I'll be very surprised if Wilder lost tonight, but I just don't see it. I see Wilder in 7.
All right, for sure. So Samuel Price, my Eritrean brother from the UK, also asked this question for both of you guys, so you guys obviously can answer. He said, Wilder should use a bit of Roy Jones tactics versus southpaws. What do you think about that, the panel and chat? So let's start with Renee Young first. What do you think about Samuel's question?
I don't know about using a bit of Roy Jones tactics, because the tactics that Wilder uses his own tactics that he uses on his own are more than enough. I personally think, right, that they are more than enough. And as I said a moment ago, that Wilder is too intelligent. Also, Curtis Anderson pointed out the same thing I pointed out a moment ago, that as far as Wilder's athleticism, he's just so athletic, and his unique angles, footwork, you know what I mean, and his intelligence in the ring. I think that's more than enough, man. I just think that's more than enough. I think he has Ortiz down, his blueprint down well. And as I said a moment ago, I don't think Ortiz is going to bring too much of a new game plan. He is going to bring obviously something unique into the table. He's going to bring something unique, but I don't think it's going to last against Wilder's, relentlessness and his intelligence in the ring. So I don't personally think he's going to bring any kind of different, tactics. Wilder has enough tactics as it is.
All right, Curtis Anderson, go ahead.
He don't need to be Roy Jones. That's not who he is. This be Deontay Wilder. You're the favorite, and you have the Alabama sledgehammer, and one punch knockout artist. That's all you need. I wish Wilder develops a left hook. If he ever develops another punch, I'm telling you now, he's going undefeated. He's going undefeated. If he goes to the body, he's going undefeated, man. That's what made Tommy Hearns a great fighter, man, because he had a left hook. So when a fighter has he's a one punch knockout artist. All he needs to do is develop another punch. I like what Wilder did last time against Brazil. He hid the right hand. That's why he knocked Brazil out, and if he starts to do that, he'll be almost unbeatable. Against Fury, he'd take a little stutter step. He was telegraphing a right hand, even though he knocked Fury down twice. He was telegraphing a right hand. And I said after the fight, he needs to hide that right hand. He did that against Brazil. So that's all he needs to do from now on to finish out his career. All he needs to do is be Wilder and make sure his foot on the outside of Ortiz's foot and shoot that right hand down the pipe. Give him something to think about. Shoot it down the middle. I will throw that right hand many, many times in every round, man. Because he's gonna try to take away Wilder's jab. So Wilder's savvy in throwing that right hand. I done seen him, use different right hands against Spilka and Lahoyevich and Fury and Stavern, and Ortiz. So all he needs to do is fight to his strength and use that right hand over time.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick. The Wonderful Life of Bob J says Wilder threw Ortiz like a baby. Okay. Trick Notesy, my brother, says Wilder is so powerful with the right hand that even if Ortiz moves away and Wilder catches him on the glove, he's still going to feel that thud from Wilder. Definitely agreed. Earl Taylor Sr. also says that Wilder just needs to use his jab effectively and keep Ortiz at bay. Don't throw anything that will leave himself open to the counter. Definitely agreed. Bob J also says Wilder said the first knockdown he had was at 10 years. Okay. Samuel says Wilder just needs a body jab and a left hook. Definitely will agree with what Curtis Anderson said. Absolutely. CHH Combat Sports, Coach Selton Harris in the house. What's going on there, brother? He says we'll smash the like button right now. Thank you so much. And all for everybody in the chat. And all the new people, make sure to subscribe to CHH Combat Sports. He always come up every Sunday night around 8 p.m. Central Time with his weekly shows, though, bro. It's always a good show to watch before I get to bed and get ready to work. All right, and Earl Taylor Sr. says, tap the guard a couple of times. Let Ortiz know the real 100. All right, I definitely agreed. So I'll throw this out the question for both of you guys. Now, in the implications of both what happens between Ruiz versus AJ, would you still mind having a fight between Ruiz versus Wilder, even if those two belts that me and Renee were talking about, the WBO and the IBF belt, get stripped away from Ruiz, even though they're not gonna get undisputed? Let's start with you, Curtis.
Oh, I would definitely want to see it. They're going to if Ruiz win, he's definitely getting stripped. That's no question about it. It's sad, but that's politics of boxing. But sometimes you just got to be like, hey, the names is what makes boxing, not the belt, because of, what the sanctioning body does with the politics. Oh, Ruiz win, he's going to be a hot fighter. If Wilder win, Wilder's Wilder. It goes, the heavyweight champion goes through Wilder, and even though he is the champion, they should put that fight next year, depending if the two get past their opponents. Put it in Texas Stadium. It got a large Mexican fan base.
Mm-hmm.
They love boxing, and America loves boxing. It's a natural, and you can have it right in Jerry's world. So, that fight can be made, and I hope it will get made if Ruiz win. If Joshua won, he's not going to get stripped. He'll be fighting people like Dillian White, which would be a big fight in the UK. People like that. So I want Ruiz to win, so it could be Wilder and Ruiz next year at Texas Stadium.
All right, absolutely agree. So let's go out and check out the chat real quick. Trick Nolte says, skinny guys with rivalry frame are naturally strong and can punch. If you put a pair of boxing gloves on Jamal Crawford, I bet he would KO someone. But you know what, though? The greatest example of that is obviously Thomas Hearns. Skinny frame, but very well built as he got older and had the most devastating punch in boxing. You could test to that, Curtis, right?
Oh, absolutely. He was knocking people out from welterweight 147 to cruiserweight 190, and he knocked out people like Roberto Duran and Pepino Cuevas and James Black Gold Schuler, Juan Domingo Rodan. He was, he did damage to Hagler. People don't talk about this, but I noticed after the Hearns fight, Hagler wasn't the same, and he lost to Leonard. He detached Leonard's eye, even though in the loss, he put major damage on fighters. Major damage.
Oh, yeah. That's a great point, though, too, Curtis, though. And look, I'll get Renee Boxing onto this conversation because I remember going back into that fight between Hearns versus Hagler. I mean, the fact that Hagler had a strong chin, and the fact that Hearn crushed his right hand when he tried to hit him, you could tell that Hagler was not the same. Even in the fight against John Mugabe, he wasn't moving effectively, and John Mugabe was hitting him with punches that Hagler was never to get hit with. Am I right about that, Curtis?
Absolutely, man. That fight took place April '85, Hagler Hearns, and then I noticed Hagler fought John Mugabe, and it was a tough fight. He closed Hagler's eye in that fight, but Hagler got him out of there. That's why Leonard saw that, and Leonard fought him because he wasn't sure he can beat him, but he was sure of himself when he saw the Mugabe fight. But that Hearns fight slowed Hearns fight slowed Hagler down enough, so Leonard came out of retirement. And that's a testament to Hearns. He messed up Leonard's career by detaching his retina. Leonard had to retire. So Hearns always put major damage on you, and Bob Foster was another one, a hard hitting light heavyweight. He lost to Ali and Frazier when he moved up to heavyweight. But he could punch too. Guys like that, skinny guys. For some reason, Mark Breland, when he was an amateur, was laying people out like Wilder does in the amateur. Only lost one fight. It's always the wiry, skinny guys.
Definitely agreed. So I want to throw this question. I want to throw this subject out there. Now, we all know that Floyd Mayweather is a hater anyway of Wilder because of Mayweather's insecurity. Now that he's coming out and trying to say, "Oh, I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao in 2020," all that kind of stuff, though, bro. Really, guys, I'm tired of listening to Mayweather's mouth. Just get out of boxing. Focus on your promotional thing. Okay, but let me get to you, Renee Boxing first. Go ahead. Let me know what you got. What you're thinking about that, man.
I totally agree. I think it got to the point of annoying when at first I gotta say I love Mayweather, man. He's my favorite, one of my favorite boxers, at least one of my favorite. Heavyweight Wilder's my favorite. As far as when Mayweather was fighting, Mayweather Jr., my favorite, man. He's a great fighter, but after he started boxing, after he retired, and then he started talking about this whole, do you guys remember that? Mayweather, the money team, UFC, what are the odds? What are the odds? I mean, come on, man. You kind of see through that he wasn't going to do it. And then shortly after that, or I think recently, talking about fighting Khabib, He was, the rumor was out there. And then you guys remember on Instagram, he put up a video on talking about fighting in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that, yeah? And then he said shortly after, oh, no. It was just a commercial. I made a couple million, 30 seconds, a couple million, And then that exhibition fight with tension, right? And then, and then it was going to be an exhibition fight with Pacquiao. And I think it was a Saudi Arabia one, but it was an exhibition fight with Pacquiao, supposedly. And then after that, it was, no. It's going to be a real fight with Pacquiao now, yeah? And then, oh no, I'm retired now. I'm going to stay retired because boxing is just cruel. My health is more important. And then no, I'm going to come back and fight. It's just with all due respect to Mayweather, but I totally agree with you, Mahari Nation, that too much toying with the community, too much back and forth. And now recently he's saying he's going to come back and fight, and he's sitting there with Dana White to convince the crowds and the multitudes. Okay, real fast. Let me mention something. I think it goes deeper. I think that ever since Mayweather, I think he has done enough, man, in boxing. He has done amazing accomplishments, the championships, et cetera. More than anything, his skills that he brought into the ring. He's done enough. What, 20 some odd years in boxing, right? How many, historian?
About 20. He started, let me see, in 96. He became champion in 98. So yeah, he beat Gennaro Hernandez for his first title at 130 in 98, and went up and became multiple champions. He did everything in the game, man. But I'm annoyed by it. I just wish he would go away, man.
Agreed. And my all-time favorite Mayweather fight was against Diego Corrales, because remember, he was a major underdog against Diego Corrales. There were people that felt that Diego Corrales was going to kill Mayweather, and Mayweather put in the greatest boxing performance that I've ever seen. Listen, Pretty Boy Floyd back in his heyday was a monster, but honestly, and here's what Earl Taylor Sr. said, though. He also he also said that, did you guys see Terrence Crawford call out Floyd today on Twitter? And yeah, I saw that earlier, and also salute to Blue Blood Sports TV. He put out a great video about this. Listen, y'all need to understand, Floyd is only doing this to try to create attention for himself, to try to steal the limelight from Wilder, because he's such an insecure woman. Yeah. Because he always wants the spotlight for himself. He don't want to share with nobody. But unfortunately, Wilder gravitates to so many people, which includes the LDBC too, that unfortunately Wilder's got more fans than what Mayweather ever had in his entire, basically in the second half of his career.
Right. Real quick, Mahari, what I was saying a moment ago that connects exactly what you're saying. Remember when and I think this is one of the things that really got to Mayweather, is that 20 years approximately in boxing. He was so used to the limelight. He was so used to all the attention, which he rightly deserved. You know what I'm saying? He definitely deserved it all. And just when he got out of retirement, he still thought that same attention would be directed towards him. But the thing is, there's a lot of amazing up-and-coming talent, a lot of amazing new champions. You got Shakur Stevenson, you got Devin Haney, you got Wilder, you got, the heavyweight division, you got the welterweight Porter, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. You got all these new fighters getting the attention now because they deserve it. You got Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, et cetera, et cetera. Mayweather, he's not accustomed to that. You know what I'm saying? So after retirement, and let me just get to a quick example. Remember when Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman, right? Yep. When Pacquiao entered the ring, if I'm not mistaken, TMT Promotions had they were in the event, the whole event of this fight. So Pacquiao walks into the ring walk. Everybody, did you guys remember? I was paying a lot of attention. The whole crowd was going bonkers. The whole crowd was going wild for Pacquiao on the whole ring walk. He got into the ring. Wow, the crowd was just like, wow, check this out, though. The thing is that Mayweather was in the ring also. He was there because he was part of the fight, the promotion, the event. He was standing there, and if I'm not mistaken, Leonard Ellerby, all due respect to Leonard, he was in the ring also. But Mayweather was there in the ring, and Pacquiao was standing around, jumping around, like saluting the crowd in the ring. Nobody gave attention to Mayweather. Nobody. I mean, the night was Pac's night. The night was Thurman's night. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm getting at. Okay, Pacquiao wins in impressive fashion. Awesome fight. After the fight, you guys remember this. I think it was a couple days later. What did Mayweather do? He Twittered, Instagram or Twitter or whatever, right? He put this. I don't know if you guys remember it. You know what, Pac-Man? I'm your boss. I'm the one who pays you. You know, it's like, come on, dude. And then he tried to like, cut the whole, oh, great job, Pacquiao. I don't even think he congratulated him. I don't even think he congratulated Pacquiao, man. He just went off the bat, all of a sudden, just knocking on Pacquiao. It's like that shows you. I even made videos on this. That shows you that Mayweather. You just like as you guys are saying. Stay retired, brother. We love you, man. But it's just stay retired, man. You're just making yourself look worse. And he's just discrediting his own reputation more and more the more he does these things, man.
All right. Go ahead, Curtis. Anything you want to contribute?
No, I just want to say he's an attention whore, a narcissistic, selfish little brat, man, who, don't like to see nobody else shine. People like that are usually dangerous, man. You're known the world over. You made a lot of money. Your name will always ring out, the Mayweather name. What more do you want? He feels his legacy is being threatened. That's how he thinks, man. When the fighter has momentum, it can be Canelo, it can be Pacquiao, it can be Wilder. He will do that to popular fighters. Fighters he feel that's getting momentum. If they have a big fight in Vegas, he will come out the woodworks, and be like, I'm coming out of retirement. He put a bogus picture. He ain't coming out of retirement. There's no way he's fighting any fight. He's too old. The reflexes is going. That they're probably gone. He fighting exhibition matches. He's promoted, so he's there wearing them crazy clothes. People don't realize, man. When you are quiet, you speak loudly. People remembers you when you fall. On the wayside and be like, man, what's Mayweather up to? But he don't see it like that. People will start to ask questions if you're not in the limelight. Be like, what's up with this fighter? What's up with Floyd? What are you up to? But he don't see it like that. He see it as, I gotta show my face, and if this fight had momentum, I'm coming out of retirement, and put up that bogus old picture with the trunks. Now Terrence Crawford call him out. There's no way in hell will he go near Terrence Crawford or anybody else who can beat him. So he's just an attention whore who suffers from narcissism.
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, brother Curtis Anderson. If he does come back, I mean, the public shouldn't give him that much attention, man. They shouldn't take it serious. And if he does come back, pie in the sky with Terrence Crawford, that's fine. But he's just gonna fight some easy fighter or some UFC fighter in another boxing match like McGregor or something.
Yeah, he just don't know how to stay away, man. He fought a UFC fighter. It did very well. They built it up. McGregor did. Then he fought the Asian guy over there. Okay, you made $9 million. Okay, all right. For a round or two. Man, what more can you do, man? It's just greed. Narcissism, being very selfish, Napoleon complex. Floyd suffers from all of that.
Yep, absolutely, though, guys. Absolutely. And also, I want to give a huge welcome to Ronald Finkley, the OG, who's in the chat here. What's going on, Ronald Finkley? What's going on, brother? That's the OG of the LDBC. We're working around in these chats and sharing all the live streams with everybody. Absolutely. So, and also, I want to check into the chat real quick. Ronald Finkley also said, Terrence Crawford called his bluff. Floyd just all talk at this point. I cannot argue with that, Ronald Finkley. Earl Taylor Sr. says, if Floyd wants shine, fight one of the top welterweights. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Or otherwise disappear, period. No question about it. Absolutely agreed. Samuel Price, my Airstream brother, says, Floyd is addicted to the fame. Michael J in 617 says, what up, everybody? What's going on to you, brother? Welcome. Samuel Price says, I can't stand Floyd and his coonery. No argument for me, man. No argument for me. Sheldon Holmes says, "What up, Bill? What's up? What up, though? What's going on to you, sir?" Okay. Also, let me show down right here. Samuel Price also said the reason why Floyd is being allowed to do this is because Bud and AJ never got made. Well, we'll see what happens next year. I believe that Bud and Earl Spence will fight next year, but we'll see what happens down the line. Ronald Finkley also said the highlight of my week was when such facts news like Larry Merchant made Floyd may be coming back. Let me tell you something right now, guys. The thing is this. The fact that Larry Merchant is begging Floyd to come back after he said, if I were 8 years young, I'd kick your ass. Karma, baby. Straight karma. And Resiliency, he says, hey, guys, using terrible penalties in the sports to get clout. Absolutely. Definitely agree with that. Ron Finger says 100. So, yeah. At the end of the day, though, guys, for everybody in the chat here, here's the thing. Ignore what Floyd does. All he's doing is trying to gain attention for himself. And listen, he's not going to fight one of the top welterweights because he knows what's going to happen. Listen, you beat the system. You made a lot of money and you left your career undefeated. What more can you ask? Nobody can take away what you did in the sport. But again, I hate to say this, and you know what? I'm going to say it anyway. Floyd Mayweather is the O.J. Simpson of boxing. Would you agree with that, Curtis?
That's a very interesting comparison. I can see where you're going with it, man. He's just, oh boy, man. He just gets on my nerve, man. We just, we talk about him, not in a good way, man. It's just that, like you said, like somebody said, he's addicted to the limelight, and then somebody called him a coon. So that part with OJ is true. He is a coon, but I've supported Mayweather for many years, man. Bought his pay-per-views and watched all his fights, man, and T-shirts. Used to order T-shirts from the website and all that. But come on, man, please go away. Do us a favor, please, man.
Hey, wait, real fast, brother. Just jumping off of what Curtis said. Like it's getting to the point. Just like that. I mean, that same annoyance, that same like irritated, feeling sometimes we get about Floyd Mayweather when he sticks his nose into big fights, when he sticks his nose into fights that he shouldn't even stick his nose into. You know what I'm saying? That he should just let the fighter shine. It gets to the point of this. Remember, I mean, this was totally. I mean, I don't mean to dig it up, but you remember this whole Gucci thing? The annoyance gets to such a degree where the rapper, I think what's his name, TJ.
I forgot the rapper name.
There was a rapper that made a song, against Floyd Mayweather because
T.I. It was T.I.
Sorry, T.I. I'm sorry, man. I'm not into the hip hop culture in this generation. Right. I was in the 90s and stuff, but
me neither.
Yeah, I can't catch up with those young bucks, man. But okay, so T.I., right? It's getting so much, the annoyance of Mayweather and how he conducts himself. You know what I'm saying, and to a certain extent, in a conceited, to a big extent, to extreme extent, conceited, arrogant fashion. More than anything, conceited. So conceited to the point where he didn't even stick up for the culture and that whole Gucci situation, right? And it got to the point where T.I. made a song, degrading Floyd Mayweather. Man, it got to that point. So that should tell him he should, open his eyes and say, you know what, I'm just going to step back and I'm going to do, support the up and coming, community and talent. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, definitely agreed. But Trig Nolte had a question for you, Renee. He said, boxing trivia for Renee. In getting ready for his bout against Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray was knocked out in a sparring session by this southpaw from Dallas. He even later admitted. He wants to ask you, do you know who was the sparring partner that knocked out knocked out Sugar Ray Leonard? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Man, that's a great question. I have no idea. I'm sure Curtis Anderson knows that one.
Do you have any idea, Curtis?
I know, but the name escapes me, man. Somebody broke his ribs too in sparring. The name escapes me, man.
Was it Terry Norris?
No, he fought Terry Norris at the Garden. It was God dog, man. I was just talking about that with Scrapbook, man.
Okay.
Oh boy, I forgot, man. Tell him, hey Trick, put the answer in, man.
Yeah,
The name escapes me.
Yeah, Trick Nolte, you got both the boxing historians stumped there, bro. So go ahead and reveal the answer when you ever got the chance. So let's go ahead to continue there. Earl Taylor Senior says Floyd's that 20-year-old that keep coming back from high school after school to hang out.
Yeah.
Samuel Prime says Floyd is like a fight that you can't stand, or better yet, he's the fight that you can't just splash. You know what I mean? Just that fly that you can't get rid of. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it really says like Lennox Lewis and Shannon Briggs. Ronald Ficklen says our Earl Taylor Senior salute. And he said KO'd. Damn. Yeah, Trick Nolte, go ahead and put the answer into the chat though, bro. Before we wrap it up, make sure to put the answer in the chat though, because I don't know who knocked out that Sugar Ray Leonard though. That's a very good question. But anyway, though, guys. Anyway, so tonight we got. Oh wait, Trick Nolte just gave the answer. The answer is Quincy Taylor.
God, dog. I know that's it because I think they used to spar a lot, and Quincy Taylor they say was going to be the next big thing, but he didn't turn out like they thought he would. He had talent, but he was a disappointment. Quincy Taylor.
I never heard.
Yeah, I know Quincy Taylor.
I never heard of Quincy Taylor. I'm gonna have to do some research about him after this live stream's over. Okay, cool. Say, Trick Nolte, if you ever want to join into the chat, to the live stream anytime next week or in any future fights, feel free to email me and I'll always send you the link if you want to join in. But we're down to the home stretch. We're down to 5 minutes away from the conclusion of this live stream, though, guys. So let's talk about the undercard. What's exciting you about the undercard? Let's start with the boxing historian Curtis.
Well, I believe the Neary fight is canceled. True? Is that true? That's what I heard. I'm not sure, but I wanted to see Neary because he's gearing up for Inoue. I think that fight is going to happen. He was 1 pound over the weight limit. He had an hour to get under, the weight limit. So I heard it was canceled from somebody. I'm not sure. I'll find out shortly, though. If not, I'm going to enjoy watching Neary because he's 30-0 with 24 knockouts. He hits real hard. I was always a big fan of Mexican fighters growing up, like the Ruben Oliveras and the Carlos Arates and Bobby Chacon, so on and so on. But, I hope he fights. I want to see Leo Santa Cruz, even though he should be fighting Russell or Tank or somebody like that. I want to see Figueroa, the Heartbreak Kid. So it's a very interesting undercard that I look forward to seeing. So it's not just one fight; it's all of them because this is like showcase fights. Flores can be tough. One fighter came in 4 pounds overweight. 4. Wow. 4 pounds. But I'm looking forward to tonight's action in general. I always like seeing the lighter weight divisions, man. So I can't wait.
All right, for sure. Now, let me ask you this, Renee Boxyoung, about Leo Santa Cruz. Now, I'm sure you're excited about that fight, but what is the perception of Leo Santa Cruz, of his reputation?
I'm not happy of his opponent, Leo Santa Cruz. He's moving up, right, to fight Miguel Flores. He's moving up in weight. I'm not too happy about it because I know Leo Santa Cruz can put more on the line. I do give him his credit though with his other fights. The first fight decision, Frampton won it, and then he rematched him. Great fights. I really do give him that credit. Also, when he fought Matis, Matis is a warrior. They were going at it. But after that, I haven't been too interested in Leo Santa Cruz fighting because they're against people that aren't really up to par. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's kind of a disappointment with Leo Santa Cruz. That's one thing I'm kind of disappointed about, with Leo Santa Cruz. He's not fighting those who really, really, really can give him a challenge, And the thing is about this, the problem I have with that is that Leo Santa Cruz has constantly said, I want to fight the best. I'm here to fight the best. He says that time and time again in his interviews. If that's true, then go and fight, Gary Russell. I mean, you guys saw what happened with Gary Russell. He got to the point of, doing that little, episode with his, Santa Cruz's dad. I mean, what more can Gary Russell do? Fight him, you know what I'm saying? Gary Russell would be in an amazing fight, you know what I'm saying? Even mistaken, I don't remember. I think Santa Cruz has even called out Tank Davis, if I'm not mistaken, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But the point is that right, Curtis?
He did call him out.
Yeah, he called out Tank Davis, man. I mean, I think Tank Davis would blow him out of the water, because the thing is with Leo Santa Cruz, he doesn't have the best head movement either. He has that hunchback. We see that style kind of like with the Jarrett Hurd, right? Jarrett Hurd was kind of hunchback, has his head hanging over, and that's kind of what Leo Santa Cruz does. That is just an invitation for uppercuts, fights on the inside, and a knockout. You know what I'm saying? Which J-Rock did amazingly against Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd's amazing too, but it is what it is as far as styles. And I'm not really attracted to that style as far as Leo Santa Cruz. He does that. He gets hit a lot. So if he were to fight Tank Davis, man, oh my gosh, Tank David would just But then that's the thing. That's what I don't appeal. I don't approve of Leo Santa Cruz, his recent reputation in doing that. You know what I'm saying? And this fight with Miguel Flores, I'm not too excited about it, but like Curtis Anderson said, I'm happy to, it's nice to see something. Leo Santa Cruz is going to fight. I want to see him fight. It's nice, but I'm not too excited about it. But as far as the undercard and what you mentioned a moment ago, Brandon Figueroa, it's going to be great. Julio Ceja, if I'm not mistaken, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. So many names and so many fighters out there. Julio Ceja fought against Rigo, right? Rigondeaux?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when Rigondeaux was giving a unique, Rigondeaux gave a very, very unique performance that night against Julio Ceja. They were both fighting in the pocket. They were just slugging it out. A lot of people I was actually worried about Rigondeaux, that he was going to get knocked out or something. So Julio Ceja is a tough guy, man. So I'm more excited to watch Brandon Figueroa against Julio Ceja. Brandon Figueroa, man, he's up and coming. He's great. You know what I'm saying? I like his, no, actually, he's not up and coming. He's a champ. He's a champ, right? I think it's an
WBA.
Yeah, WBA. Yeah, he's a champ. So, Brandon Figueroa, I'm more excited for the Brandon Figueroa Julio Ceja fight, man, than Santa Cruz. But, to answer the question real quickly, I'm not too happy about. I kind of see a similar pattern with Santa Cruz doing kind of what Canelo has been doing, right? Starting to jump a division and is, avoiding the tough competition that was in his division before. Seems like Santa Cruz is kind of doing that, but, I'm not too happy about it. But hey, it is what it is, man.
Definitely agreed. Let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick before we go ahead and conclude matters right here. Tunnel Vision, what's going on, brother? He said, nah, Santa Cruz has a nice jab. He's no hurt. He does not get hit like that way, and has a better defense. Okay. Earl Taylor Sr. says Rigo stayed in the pocket that night and risked a lot. I definitely agreed. And you know what made me made me lose my respect for for Santa Cruz when he ducked Guillermo Rigondeaux. From that day forward, he ducked Guillermo Rigondeaux when he was basically a 2-belt champion and went up and faced against Carl Frampton. You know what I'm talking about, Curtis?
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I lost some respect for him too, man. But see, I think his style is not going to resonate against a boxer like Tank and Gary Russell Jr. Santa Cruz throws a lot of punches. He leaves himself open sometimes, even though he has a high guard, and like Renee said, man, he's susceptible to an uppercut, the way he hunches over and stuff. And, it's a reason why he's not fighting these guys, man. Remember, he lost to Peter Frampton the first time, and then he beat him the second time. And Frampton is nowhere near a Russell or Tank, and Tank is fast and very powerful, man. Tank is very powerful. So, and the best way to knock somebody out is when they punch, you punch. And Tank has the skill and speed to do that.
Absolutely. Also, Ronald Figley actually made a really good point. It was basically a message back to Earl Taylor Sr. He said, if Gary Russell and Santa Cruz was on the card, that'd be a smooth $100 pay-per-view fight. And Gary Russell looked awesome in his last fight. Now, can you imagine if you put in Santa Cruz and Gary Russell Jr. on that undercard?
That'd be awesome, man. They just don't do it. They don't load the cards like they used to back in the day for some reason, man. They give us a showcase fight. They don't make like really tough, good undercard fights anymore. They just don't.
Agreed. What about you, Renee Boxion? Would that basically give you a lot of interest if they would put the Gary Russell Jr. Match with Santa Cruz on the undercard?
Definitely, man. Definitely. I mean, that would be with Santa Cruz on the Santa Cruz versus Russell, right?
Yes.
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, that's what we want. That's what we all want to see. And the thing here, how old is Gary Russell?
30? I think 32. 30, yeah,
something like that. Check it out. Yeah, I think it's early 30s.
Yeah,
I honestly thought he was older than that.
31.
Oh, okay. The thing here is that that's what I want to point out. I mean, we all want to see that, and I don't think it's going to happen soon, man. Unfortunately, you know what I really want to see? I mean, that would be one of the fights I would really want to see. Okay, Leo Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell, but with this Leo jumping division and ducking, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. What I do want to see, man, is Gary Russell, no one. I don't think people want to fight him, man. I don't think people don't want to fight him in his division because Gary Russell's a threat. He's a great fighter. Lomachenko won by the skin of his teeth, man. He won by the skin of his teeth against Russell. You guys remember that fight? Did you see that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I would love to see a rematch. Oh, I'm sure Lomachenko would get exposed. Now he's hiding behind this franchise championship. Lomachenko, man, that's another story. But the thing is that I'm sure Russell would take out Lomachenko. I would love to see that rematch, but politics, that whole nonsense of politics in boxing, man, I don't think it's going to happen either. So, I mean, I wish they would put, tough competition for Russell, but, because Russell, he wants to smoke, man. He wants to smoke. And I'm sure Leo Santa Cruz, he don't want that smoke, man. So I don't think that's going to happen soon, man, unfortunately.
All right. So Trick Nolte also said, I talked with a former middleweight champion legend from the DMV, and he said that Tank needs to get away from Floyd. Like Puffy was dancing in his artist videos. Floyd is basically doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't argue with that. Earl Taylor Sr. also said Flores has height, but not much skill. Total Vision also said that you can't load PBC guards. Those guys are getting paid $1 million plus. Santa Cruz versus Russell is what, a $3 million plus each. I think that would be the case. I think that here's the problem what I have with Gary Russell Jr. And it's not because I don't like him as a fighter. He's a really good fighter, but he's not active. I mean, he's had hand issues in the past, but he only fights once a year because I think the logic thinking is that listen, I have hand problems. So if I want to get the fight with Santa Cruz, it would have to be at this particular point. But the problem is, if Gary Russell's not active enough to get his name out there, then he's not going to have a good opportunity to get a fight with the Leo Santa Cruz. So
that's a good point. I don't mean to butt in, bro, but I thought Russell wasn't active because no one really wanted to fight him. That's not the reason why?
That's part of it, but I also think I think that's part of I think that's a factor, but it's not a huge factor from my perspective. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Santa Cruz does not want that kind of fight. You understand what I'm saying? Because he knows that if he faces against an athletic guy with movement against Gary Russell Jr., he would be exposed. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
What do you think about that, Curtis?
Gary Russell Jr. is the type of fighter, he doesn't love boxing. He likes it. It pays well. You got guys like that today. They like it. They do just enough to keep their name out there, fighting once a year and getting $1 million or $900,000, and just enough to support their lifestyle. And that's Gary Russell. I think that's a big part of it. He likes boxing, but he doesn't love it. And that attitude, okay. I mean, he can. I mean, as boxer fans, we'll look down on that, be like, come on, bro, you got to love the sport, but we're not in his shoes. Gary Russell has hand problems like numerous fighters. You got fighters who love boxing, like Canelo. Canelo loves boxing, man. His whole life is boxing. He got this logo or this brand said "boxing is
No
life" or
boxing.
something like that.
Yeah, no boxing, no life. Yeah.
Right. See that you could. He's a born fighter.
Yeah.
I was born ready. See all those little things. You could
That's
tell
true.
when somebody loves fighting. He loves fighting, but Gary Russell likes fighting. It's a huge difference. He'll fight once a year, and he's happy with that. He might retire with this kind of career where he fight once a year with no high profile opponent.
Right.
It's unfortunate, but we know Gary Russell is a very good fighter, but it's the attitude. Some fighters don't even watch boxing. Some fighters don't love boxing, like Sugar Ray Robinson, my favorite fighter of all time. He hated the fight. He hated it, but he said it pays well and it's a business. He never loved or liked boxing. Never.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is crazy. Tunnel Vision also made an excellent point there. He said Gary Russell is lazy, does not want to take the path that Spence and Wilder took, wants things to be handed to him. You know what, though? Tunnel Vision? I cannot argue with that. That's a really excellent illustration about that. See, and then he also said that Gary chooses to fight once a year. He does not have to. He got $3 million versus Diaz. I agree, man. I mean, here's the thing. Gary Russell has choices in mind. It's not like he doesn't. It's not like he's not being shut out here. But he puts on this perception that that there's guys are ducking him. Now we agree with that. There's no doubt. Right. We agree with that. But the issue is you're not active enough to warrant that argument to get you an opportunity to fight against Leo Santa Cruz. Now it's not like I'm defending Leo Santa Cruz at all. I'm not defending him at least. But I'm illustrating the argument that Gary Russell, like what Tunnel Vision is saying, you need to be active to get an opportunity to put yourself in the conversation to get those kind of fights. And he is not doing that. And also, by the way, Tunnel Vision also said Canelo got a tattoo saying no Clint, no life.
No Clint.
You know what?
Ouch.
Go ahead, Curtis.
I got a different take, man, because I understand fighters' mentality. It takes a special breed to get in those ropes, man, and have a life as a fighter, man. You dedicate your life, you 6 or 8 weeks training, then you have a fight. You're away from your family. It's a lot on a fighter, man. I don't think Russell is lazy. I just think he doesn't love it. When you don't love something, you're going to give a half-ass performance. Not in the ring, but maybe your attitude. And you can say Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, he likes boxing. He does, man. I don't think he's crazy about it. He doesn't like the media. He's very standoffish. He fights because it pays well. But, if Terrence Crawford really loved boxing, he wouldn't have never re-signed with Top Rank. When you love boxing,
left,
he would have left. You give yourself the best opportunity in the biggest fights and be active. Right. So you could tell he likes it. He doesn't love it. Certain fighters love it. They love it.
Yep. It's basically you basically are passionate for the sport. Like with me, I'm passionate about basketball. I love it. I sleep, eat, and breathe it every day. Y'all know my channel. Y'all know that my channel is basically basketball or boxing orientated. But the thing is that there are sometimes fighters that do it either just for the money or because of the benefits, and sometimes they don't push themselves out there to get the opportunity to to reap the benefits of being great. So what's also Tunnel Vision also said is that I'm not defending Santa Cruz. I'm talking about Russell. Russell said he won't fight Farmer because he doesn't have enough money. See, I definitely agree with you at Tunnel Vision. We're not defending Santa Cruz at all. You and I are on the same page with that argument. So what Trick Nolte also said that in the movie Get Rich or Die Trying, remember Majestic held 50s kid? 50 said, no one touches my family. He did something about it. Gary Russell Jr. touched Santa Cruz's father, and Leo did nothing. Facts. Hey, I can't argue with you, Trick. I cannot. Listen, if my mom ever gets touched on by anybody, they would not be walking. And the fact that, and listen, Renee, the fact that Santa Cruz did nothing to Gary Russell Jr. is an absolute travesty.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, we're now going to get into the home. Now we're going to start making our wrapping things up there. So, if you guys wanted to talk about any conclusions to what you're going to see tonight, let's go ahead and start doing that. So, go ahead, Curtis, and go ahead and give me your last predictions or any internal thoughts of what you're going to see tonight.
It's not like a heavyweight championship fight. I love college football. I love basketball. Seen a great game last night with Houston Rockets and the Clippers. Man, I'm the biggest sports fan in the world. I love soccer. I love baseball. My Yankees. I mean, I could sit here all day, and I done did it. I do it every Saturday. You know, when I'm off the phone watching Indiana and Michigan. But there's nothing like a heavyweight fight. There's nothing like boxing. You know, I'm looking forward to the whole card, man. You know, I think Figueroa might be the fight of the night. You know, I got a feeling it might be, you know, because of the styles. I'm expecting a knockout with Wilder over Ortiz. I think Ortiz gonna put up an effort. People say why this fight is happening. Wilder's putting money in Ortiz's pocket. You know, a lot of people don't know. It kind of reminds me of Muhammad Ali and Ernie Shavers. Ernie Shavers' mother needed an operation. Ali was going to fight somebody else, but he took on Frazier, and Frazier got a good payday.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't know that, but you know that's what happened. And Wilder got a soft spot for Ortiz because of his daughter, but that doesn't mean you go in there and inflict punishment. But afterwards, look at the first fight. You know, they was hugging and stuff like that. A lot of sportsmanship. So I'm just looking forward to the fights tonight. We got boxing, man. December is on fire with boxing, man. I can't wait. Calvin Smith fought tonight. I don't know what happened, on the zone, so I'm just looking forward to boxing, man. Everybody enjoy the fight.
You know what, though, Curtis? I also texted you last night. I had the courage to watch the 1994 Eastern Conference semifinals, the Game 5 between the Bulls and the Knicks. I said I had to watch the game. I need to get over this fear, this awful feeling in my stomach, but I had to do it because I needed to get it in there. But I'm gonna say it, and I don't care what you two thinks. Fuck Hugh Hollins to his deathbed. That was absolute fucking garbage. That call on Scottie Pippen on Hubert Davis, it made me want to take my phone and just throw it against the wall. Like, how do you call that kind of foul when the ball's already in the air and he already finished the motion of the shot? Made no sense. Listen, I understand Hugh Hollins is dead, but the fact is, man, fuck him to his deathbed. Horrible call. I'm sorry, wow. Curtis. I'm sorry, Curtis. It's like how 78 feels about when Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. That's my moment, okay? You know what I feel, Curtis? You feel that pain, man?
I remember that game like it was yesterday, man. I mean, it was one of the worst calls in sports history, man. I don't see some bad calls, but that one is top 5.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So go ahead, Renee Boxion. Go ahead and give me your last thoughts about what we're gonna see tonight about the fight, though, or anything you want to get in your system, man.
I think it's going to be a great buildup as far as the undercard too. Santa Cruz. Well, I think we're gonna see him win, right? Against Miguel Flores. I think Miguel Flores is going to bring a good competition, but I think it's going to be nice. But I'm not too excited about that one. I really want to see the Figueroa one, right, against the Ceja. I think it's going to be a war. Yeah, Wilder, he just has to watch out for that counter. Watch out for Ortiz's counter, his left. I don't think, as I mentioned, as I explained earlier with the analysis, right, the breakdown, Wilder's just too athletic, too intelligent. You know what I'm saying? And I think he has Ortiz down in his game plan. So I think he's going to blow Ortiz out the water, man. I think it is what it is, man. He's going to blow him out the water. And that's my, prediction, maybe between round 5 and 8, man. I got between round 5 and 8. So, man, thank you so much, Mahari Nation. Awesome. Such an honor with you. Such an honor to be with Curtis, Anderson here in the panel. Also, salute to the whole chat. Shouts from the South, Renee Boxion from Mexico, family.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, I'm going to think about doing a live stream. We're going to talk about the whole WBC franchise thing and the whole implications of that. But I need some time to think about an idea of where we want to take it, though. So stay tuned for that next week, guys. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Make sure you eat healthy. Get a lot of exercise in. And let me tell you this, though, too. My favorite Thanksgiving moment, 1998, when Randy Moss tore up the Cowboys in Cowboys Stadium. My all-time favorite moment, though, guys. But enjoy the fight, though, guys. Enjoy the festivities. Make sure to order the pay-per-view if you haven't already. Make sure to smash the like button on the way out. And also, for all the new people, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get all the latest notifications when I go live. Okay? So I'll be back here tonight for a post-fight show on the fight there as well. But make sure to tune in for that. But enjoy the fight, though, guys. This is Abil Mehari, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Special thanks to Renee Box Young and Curtis Anderson for a great conversation. It's fight night, guys. Let's go out, let's watch it, and let's enjoy it. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you all later on tonight for the post-fight show.
Let's go. Peace.
Yes, sir.